In this lecture, we're going to learn about the else-if clause that you can attach to your if statement. And that's going to allow you to test for several conditions in your if statement. And to really understand this, suppose we are building a drawing application. And at any given moment, the user might be using the pen or the marker or the eraser or really whatever tool that it is we provide in our application. And if we want to draw, we need to know which tool is currently selected by the user. And we can do a piece of logic like this. We can have the tool stored somewhere in our application. And when we get to the moment where we want to do something, for example, when the user clicks with their mouse and they want to drag and start doing things, then we're going to test for the current tool. If the tool is the pen, we're going to use the settings for the pen. If the tool is the marker, we're going to use the settings of the marker. And we're going to keep doing this and select one tool that is actually selected as the current tool by the user. And when you do something like this, only one block in this whole chain of statements is going to execute. So for example, if we have the marker as the current tool, the code inside this block is going to execute and say active tool is marker, but nothing else in this block is going to execute. After we run this statement, control is going to jump at the end of this whole chain of if and else if statements here. I really hope you understand this. And this is really powerful stuff. For example, this is one of the applications I have done in one of my advanced course about Qt and C++. Qt is a framework that allows you to do graphical user interfaces like this, and you can build applications like this. So what I did here is I did the exact same thing that we have here. I had a chain of if and else if statements, and whatever tool was selected as the current tool was used to draw things on the canvas here. For example, if the current tool was the pen and the pen is this little pen tool here, if it is active, we're going to draw things like hello world here. If we have the star selected, we're going to draw stars. If we have the rectangle selected, we're going to draw rectangles. We could do all kinds of crazy things using this piece of logic here. But it is powerful stuff, and you really have to make sure you understand this. So this is how the else if clause can really help you. The main thing is to allow you to test for several different conditions. You could do this with a lot of if statements, but that's not going to be really cool. It's going to be ugly and hard to read. This is what you should do. Now that you have an idea about this, we're going to head to Visual Studio Code and actually see this in action. Here we are in our working directory. We're going to grab our template project pretty quick, and we're going to use the else if project here. That's our current project. So we're going to do that and open this up in Visual Studio Code as we always do. We're going to open this up. We're going to open main CPP and we're going to remove what we don't need. The first thing I am going to do is to put in a set of variables that are going to store our tools. And we can do something like this. We have a variable for pen, marker, eraser, rectangle, circle, and ellipse. I have to say that this is not the way to go about this. We're going to learn about another way we can do this, but that's going to be later in the course when we have enough tools to understand this. For now, we're just going to be happy with this. Okay, 10 is going to represent the pen, 20 is going to represent the marker, 30 is going to represent the eraser, and we can go on until we hit ellipse, which is represented by 60. Now, if we go in main and set up a variable and call it tool, for example, and initialize it with whatever tool we think that the user is currently using. For example, we can use circle and initialize this. We can set up a chain of if and else if statements to do whatever it is we want to do when this tool here is selected. Okay, we're going to go down and put in our code. I don't want to type all this, so I'm going to put this up here. And if you want, you can copy the code from the resource section. The code is going to be there. You can copy it and paste it in here and do things with it. Okay, we have a chain of if and else if clauses in here. And the first one is going to test and see if the tool is the pen. And notice that we are using double equal signs here. This is what you use to test for equality. You don't use one equal sign. You have to use two equal signs. If you use one equal sign, that's going to be an assignment. And this is going to always evaluate to true. So you don't want to do that. Again, to test for equality, you're going to use double equal signs in C++. So if the current tool is the pen, we're going to say active tool is pen. If the current tool is marker, we're going to say that. So we are basically going to do this for all the tools that our application supports. So what do you think we'll see when we run this? The active tool is circle, so we should print active tool is circle here. Let's try this out. We're going to open the terminal so that we can see the output nicely, and we're going to build with GCC, and the build is going to go through. If we run this, we're going to see active tool is circle. You can go up here and change the tool to rectangle, for example. If you build again, you're going to see that the correct block of code is going to be executed. We're going to clear and run rooster. Active tool is rectangle. If we try to put in something that doesn't exist, let's put in bird, just to mess with our compiler here. We're going to get a compiler error because that type is not known by our code here. So we're going to get bird was not declared in this scope. We don't know what it is. You have to put in whatever thing you have declared beforehand here. So if we put in eraser, for example, we're going to build with GCC. The build is going to go through, going to clear, run rooster. The tool is going to be eraser, and this is exactly what we expect. Again, the main message in this lecture is that you can use this else if clause if you have several conditions that you want to test for, just like we have here. And again, one of these blocks is going to execute, and once we hit the end of this chain of if and else if clauses, we're going to fall here, and code after that is going to execute. So let's say moving on so that you can really see this here, very clear. Moving on. And if we build this, we're going to see only one block from this whole chain. And once one block executes, control is going to go after all this chain and execute whatever is after that. So we're going to say moving on after we print that the active tool is eraser here. I think we have built this, so let's try and run this. And you see active tool is eraser and moving on. So after we print the code from the eraser block, we're not going to execute rectangle or circle or ellipse. It's going to jump at the end of this whole block. This is really what I want to be super clear. And again, make sure you understand the syntax here. The else if statement is followed by a set of parentheses. And inside the parentheses, we have the condition we want to test for. The condition has to evaluate to Boolean. And after that, we have the block of code that we want to execute. And this is really all you have to do to get this to work to your advantage. We are going to stop here in this lecture. In the next one, we're going to learn about switch. Go ahead and finish up here and meet me there.